Hey, what's up? Husman here, and in today's video I'm gonna once again listen back to your music. A lot of you guys have sent me a lot of great music last week in the video, and I can't wait to share the ones that I like the most, the ones that really stuck out to me in today's video. So today we're gonna do a second installment of me listening and giving feedback to your music. And it's for me a great way to help promote young talent which I think is really making great music, and I want to give them a little shout out in these kind of videos. So today, second video of me listening to your music. The tracks that we're going to listen to are not in any particular order, but the first track we're going to listen to is by Seven Wells and it's called Voices. Let's hear it. In my opinion, a really cool, chill song. What I really like about this song particularly is the melodic elements of the vocal in combination with the great mix down of the kick and the bass. I think the kick comes through really well, and I really like how you made it sound loud and pumping, but still all the transients are there and everything is working together really well. If I have to give one particular thing of critique or feedback, that would be try to do a little bit more interesting stuff with your breakdown. For me, it's a little bit too empty at the moment. Try to find some cool atmospheres, vocals, anything that could fit that space there. But I think overall an amazing tune, and thank you for sending it in. Track numero 2 is made by a guy named Achilles. His track is called Enemy. So let's see what the enemy is about today.
I've been waiting for the phone call. I keep losing sleep over you, and I know I shouldn't want more, but I can't help it. I miss those nights that you drove me crazy, back when I would tell you everything, and now you're asking how I'm doing lately. So I lie and say that I'm okay. I know we got history, but I can't be your enemy. So let's just let it be and keep the memories. 'Cause I can't be your enemy. Enemy. Ooh, ooh, enemy. Memories are turning easy. Wish we could go back in time to the days when it was easy, before we started crossing lines. I miss the nights that you drove me crazy, back when you would tell me everything. And now I'm wondering where you've been lately, 'cause I still haven't heard a thing. I know we got history, but I can't be your enemy. So let's just let it be and keep the memories. 'Cause I can't be your enemy. Enemy. Ooh, ooh, enemy.
From the last one, there's much more powerful, much more big room trance kind of sound, which I really enjoy listening to. The first thing I'm wondering is that your voice in this track. If so, I would love to work perhaps in a track together, because I think the voice is really awesome, really great voice for big room trance, also like vocal trance or like EDM. I think it's a really great vocal. I overall really like the track. I like the arrangement, how the melody is building up and then the drops. I would almost support this track, be it for one reason, that I feel like the sub is not really coming through enough. It's a bit too groovy for my taste personally. I think if you have a sub which is a bit more sidechain, a bit more pumping, so that the whole groove of that complex stroke kind of electro drop will have a bit more flow to it, that would definitely be something that I would truly support. Awesome tune, and really grateful that you've sent it to me to hear it. Next up on our list this week is a track by Stephen Bors called Morpheo. Really curious about the story behind the name of it, but I just think it's a really cool name, so let's see what this track is about. was another big room stomper that we got this week. I think it's a really powerful tune. There are a few things with it that I'm not quite sure about yet. First thing that I noticed with this track was that there are a lot of high frequencies. Normally I'm a really big fan of high frequencies, but now they're like on almost all the elements, the kicks, the leads, the bass. I really would like to see a more balanced mix where the high frequencies are a bit lower on volume and then the low frequencies can be brought up a bit, as well as the mid frequencies. I also think there was some gains to be made in the breakdown. I like it when a track has a bit more contrast of the powerful elements and the more slow-paced elements. So I would like to see if you could improve on that. I have to say the second drop is really awesome. I really like the melodic elements in that. So great track, and I hope these little tips help you to even improve a little bit more on the track. I'm really curious to see where you're gonna take this track. Now, the next track will give me a little bit of a headache to pronounce. Here is Either, Other, one of those, made by Drift, Ranks and Craxton. And I'm sure it's a big room track with that kind of name, so let's hear it. Big room track. It reminded me a little bit of my track that I worked together on with Sabres called Epidemic, that triplet kind of vibe, that bass heavy first drop and the melodic second drop. I really think you did a great job on both drops. The first one's really clean and well mixed, whilst not having a lot of elements, just about enough to pique the interest of the listener. And the second drop has a really dope melody with some really great synths, which I really like. In the breakdown, I would like to see a bit more unique kind of sounds. I think the melodies are quite cool, but that flute, if you're going to do a flute, I would like to encourage you to find a flute which has a bit more of the sound like it's like actually a flute, not like a flute through a synthesizer. It sounds a bit too much. Yeah, I don't like to use the word cheap on other people's music, but that flute sounds a little bit cheap to me. Sorry. But other than that, I think the main melody is great as well. Try to make the leads a little bit less harsh, so they're not too much high frequency heavy, but also have a bit more balance in them. But other than that, I think the main general feel of the track is like power, and I love that kind of feeling. So I hope these tips help with maybe this track or your next tracks. And let's see the next one. big room trance kind of track. Atheris with Final Round. And I think there are a lot of cool elements in there, but also, like with previous ones, I would also give the same feedback as to try to not only focus about loudness and getting things to stick out of the mix, but also be more accurate or like careful with what kind of sounds you let peak out at what places. Because now it's like a lot about high frequencies, a lot of things really peaking in the mix, and you have to think like if you play this on a really loud sound system, those high frequencies will get amplified even more, which, as you might know, is not that great for the old ears, because the high frequencies in your ears will get lost first, like destroyed first in your eardrums. So try to keep that high energy, but try to make it a bit more balanced with which kind of sounds you're gonna give a lot of high frequencies. And perhaps watch the video I did on the 3K dip, which can also help a lot clean out that harshness in the leads. And overall, I think you used quite a lot of cool sounds. There was only one sound which I didn't like, which is the sound which you start with in the first drop. I think I like the sound, but just the melody sounds a bit out of character, out of key in comparison with all the other sounds in the track. But other than that, I think you have a really cool track going on. I'm really looking to hear the final result. So send it to me and I might even play this one, because I think it has a lot of power. It just needs to be mixed down a bit better, put a bit more careful in the frequency spectrum, compress certain elements a bit differently, use reverb, bring some certain things just a little bit differently so they work a bit better together. So these were all the 5 tracks that stood out to me the most. I really like to listen to your music, and I'm really looking forward to hear what you guys have made next month when I do the next video in this little series. So that's all for me this week. I really hope you're having a great productive week. If you haven't already, subscribe, and if you like what I do, hit that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, bye bye.